When I first started playing Onigiri, I was Sword, all the way up to Satan. When I couldn't get my recipe, I switched to Axe and pretty much stayed that way forever. Axe used to be a lot of fun back in the day, but the meta has changed so much that it's no longer the top dog for damage. Multi-hit is supreme now, and damage cap isn't that special anymore. Element is also another issue, as we have yet to get any new ice or mountain weapons, on top of the fact that endgame bosses are not really weak to those elements, and if they are, they're more than likely weaker to something else where you can just use a different element or weapon to be more efficient. Early on before the changes, Axe was simple. All you had to worry about was crit, slice, and having low HP to get the most out of double-edged cut. But since then, slice is not as effective since typing came around, which reason being, some enemies are now resistant to slice, so as far as like Asura's Thunder, it will miss, or it'll do reduced damage to any enemy that is somewhat resistant to slice. So slice stacking is nowhere near as effective. Axe isn't out of the water just yet. There are still some pros to playing Axe, such as easy mag farming, and just a general damage boost over the other classes. Axes grind much higher than any other weapon, but after you reach level 125 weapons or around that area, the extra 3 to 4k attack just isn't going to do it. It's all down to skills and playstyle and elements. The video that's playing in the background right now is from way before Oshu was even teased for us, so no 105s or gargoyle weapons. It was the golden age for Axe, with Watasumi showing up in our bargains every day so you could just roll faded on them, trying to go for that high crit or slice. It was a simpler time. Things were weak to mountain or slice, and even if they weren't, Axe still shredded them. If you go to the wiki and look at the skills, you'll see just how many moves have slice of them, and it's easily over 90%, which made Faded Contractor the ornamentation to do. Speaking of Watasumis, Moroku will be your best friend for a long time. There are 2 negotiations to keep in mind, 6 and 7. 6 is nowhere near as important as it used to be, as we no longer need Himerogis to make level 5s, but 7, you will need Watasumis, and it's much easier to get Watasumis from bargains than farming field bosses or whatever you can find on the wiki. The wiki is set up nice, as you can find the mags you are looking for by color, and Axe mags are an off-green yellowish color. Bono, Ugumatoki, and Hangons are great force low trunker mags to play around with, and if you're at the moon, they are very easy to get by running Palace of Rain. Now your main damage is eventually going to come from 105s and fused mags, and I personally do not recommend going all out with Tempest. There will be some clips in a bit showing what I mean. Now let's go over stats. I'll just blaze through this, but the things to keep in mind is that power is your main stat, as it will increase your base attack speed and give you some HP to work with. It also gives bonus affinity to other weapons aside from staff and wand. Vit is something we're not going to worry about, no points in Vit. Wisdom and Dex are the bread and butter, as they give you extra crit, so you'll have to balance them out to get as much crit as possible per stat point used. Mind, you will need a total of 75 at minimum to cast Resurrection 7. Just to recap, Slice, once again, is basically a part of every skill you will use, aside from like Flame Lance, Ice Lance, Abyssal Embrace. Slice is everywhere for Axe. Now on to the clips, testing how Axe does for Mountain, Ice, and Holy on our buddy Satoon.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Onigiri.
Now we're down to the elements that are negatives, which is wind and fire. Fire isn't hit as bad as wind, but the numbers right there say it for themselves. Now here's where it gets really depressing. Even with Heart and all of Miyamoto's other buffs, having negative wind still decreases the damage to pitiful numbers. Holy works good though. On to Dark. Before, Collapsing Blade was very good, as it would damage cap almost everything, but then Typing came along and kind of destroyed what we had good going for us. It's not the most consistent damage, and it cannot hit Kaguya in the air. Now we're back again, but with knowledge mags, and we are utilizing the other side bow. Granted, these aren't items or weapons that you can have access to at the moment, but for Dark Element, it completely outshines just using Collapsing Blade on Axe, and it's basically the meta for Palace of Rain or anything that you want or need Dark for. Plus, I think wearing Knowledge is a much better alternative for if you're just mainly using your Vanguard, since you do not have to worry about being under half to get your maximum damage. In closing, about the only thing I can say is try to have fun with Axe. If it doesn't work, it may be for the best. Axe just isn't where it used to be. Sure, it can hit hard, but it gets outclassed so easily by multi-hit. The only multi-hit skill we really have that does work is Freeze and Ice Blade, but like I said before, Freezing Ice Blade does not, or ice doesn't really have a place in the game anymore. And if it does, there's an element that'll work much better. So, best thing to take from this, if you want to try Axe, get your bargains to 7, roll a lot of Watasumis, get your axes up, like start with a cross. I don't know what else there is below that since I wasn't there. I wasn't Axe at that time. Get your cross, get your Watasumis, start farming your 105s, get those going. Then slowly work your way up to the moon to farm Palace of Rain, and get a bunch of 4th mags until you eventually can make fused, and start taking out other shit. That's really all I can say. I hope this guide has been helpful. Thanks for watching.